Hi there, Rivers. How are you? I want to tell you a story of something that happened to me, oh golly, over close to 20 to 23 years ago. I was in the middle of this company. I was partnering up with my good friend, my older brother that I never had, Dave Goetz, and we had this really exciting business idea. And we were having a really hard time getting it off the ground. And ultimately, it never got off the ground. But we were working together as a financial planner, Dave, and a lawyer, me. And I was down in Las Vegas, and we had some bad news that came. And I don't know why, but I went into a really bad spiral. I think what I had was a panic attack. I had never had one before. Mom was not at home. She was on a trip with her sisters back east, which I was thrilled that she was back there. And I didn't feel like I could give her a call and tell her, hey, I feel terrible. I feel like my life's going down the tubes. And I was just full of panic. And the kids that were home were probably not a good fit to call and talk to. I felt really alone, super alone. I prayed and I asked Heavenly Father to help me. And nothing happens. It's what happens a lot of times when you pray. Nothing happens, and then something happens. So I was down in Las Vegas, and out of the blue, at the height of my panic attack, I get a phone call from a really good friend of mine that I hadn't spoken to in years, a guy by the name of Bob Simpson. Bob kind of looks like, who's the actor? Anyway, he's a really handsome, glib guy. And we became fast friends at Ray Quinny. And then he decided that he was going to move with his family back to Los Angeles. And he'd been there a few years, and he was going through a divorce, and his life at the time was not exactly what it should have been. He was a returned missionary, and he was going through a pretty rugged divorce. And anyway, so Bob Simpson, imperfect Bob Simpson, imperfect like all of us, out of the blue calls me and says, I've just been thinking about you. How are you doing? I can't even tell you how perfect the timing was. I said, Bob, I'm not doing very good. And Bob, he says, okay. He asked me some questions, and he says, Steve, I didn't tell you this, but over the years, I've had a few panic attacks. That's what I think you're going through. And I want you to know that you'll get through this, and I'm going to help you. And so he didn't make me, he just asked some questions and said, I want you to, have some deep breathing. And then we talked. He told me what he did to combat his panic attack. And it was perfect timing. And anyway, he later called me the next day and kind of kept up to make sure that I was doing okay. And I was doing okay. And he was literally an answer to prayer. And so I'll always love Bob. And I was amazed at the perfect timing. But what I was even more amazed is the perfect timing of God. And sometimes, my favorite people, when you pray, you don't get answers immediately. And sometimes it takes a while. And sometimes you really struggle. I was struggling with this panic attack, and I just felt the world was caving in on me. And then out of the blue, God somehow prompts my buddy, who I hadn't talked to in a couple of years, to give me a call. And he had this experience with panic attacks. Now, some might say that's coincidental. It's not. I viewed it as an answer to prayer, and I'll be forever grateful both to Bob and to my Heavenly Father. And I just want you to know that I've had many prayers in my life that have been answered, some in really surprising ways. Some take a while. And I just know, and I want you to know, that God listens to your prayers. You might be 7 years old, you might be 15 years old, you might be really in a big pickle. I just urge you to pray and to have faith and know that He listens and that He's intimately involved in the details of your life. I want you to remember that. And I want you to look for answers to prayer and be prepared to be surprised. That's what I got for you. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.